Welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast, the horror movie podcast that boils and ghouls and dead alike are screaming for. Don't be afraid to listen as Rick and the Creeps bore their way into your brains, slither down onto your arteries, into your still beating hearts.
Hi, welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast. This is the podcast that talks about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. I'm Rick. I got one of the creeps back in the house, Morris.
What's up, people?
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Monster Movie Man 13. Check him out. You and I today are going to be talking 2014's Extraterrestrial. You recommended this one, man.
Yes, it's one that I saw when it first came out. I think I saw it on Netflix, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And then it's definitely not on that platform anymore. But yeah, I think I saw it like once, and then I saw it again the following week because I liked it so much. Then I hadn't seen it since, and then just purchased it a few years ago, but hadn't rewatched it up until this last week. And
yeah.
have to say that I quite enjoyed it, and it did hold up to what I remembered for me.
So I hadn't seen it before. Be honest, I'm not I know this has kind of like sci-fi and horror, so kind of on the lines of, let's say, Aliens or something, or Alien. Right. I'm not I probably said this before, I'm not a huge sci-fi person, like
X-Files and things like that.
Yeah. Like we said, I'm not a huge, and I know I'm going to upset a lot of people, but I'm not a huge fan of, say, Star Wars and Star Trek, even though I appreciate, what they've done and their place and,
right.
and but I'm just, it's not my thing. I don't like immediately gravitate towards sci-fi.
Yeah.
But again, let me be very clear. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think I've mentioned this before. So,
and I love all that shit. So
yeah, you do.
Some people, I love it.
Yeah, he loves it, and me not so much. But that's okay. I mean,
it's all good.
And I watched the trailer for this. It looked really cool. I'm like, shit, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it. And then I guess it's directed by the Vicious Brothers. I guess they did Grave Encounters. I never saw that.
Grave Encounters 1 and 2.
Is that any good?
I seen the first one, and it's a decent found footage,
Okay.
And I think you'd like it. It's got that what's that was it Gundam Asylum? What's that one that you saw?
I can't Gundam crap. I can't remember.
Yeah, the one
it's been so long.
I
know what you're talking about.
Yep, a while back. And it's almost like the same story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like a group of paranormal investigators kind of thing. So,
okay.
It's really. I think I saw it late at night, and it was kind of scary. So
kind of creepy.
When I heard that they were doing this, or when I saw this, and I'm like looking up who the director was, I'm like, oh, it's the Vicious Brothers, the same guys that did Grave Encounters, and I think. After this movie, they did it stains the sands red. Oh God, what's the name of that movie?
I never saw it. Did you see that?
It stains the sands red. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember when we were at Fry's, or not Fry's, the place over in the mall where you used to live. God.
Oh, FYE?
FYE. Thank you.
FYE, yeah.
So, it was, I had seen It Stains the Sands Red before, and then when I saw that they had a copy there, and they only had DVD at the time, I should have got it on Blu-ray and waited. But I'm like, I didn't know that they did that movie as well.
Oh, okay.
And, of course, it has the lead actress in that one as well.
Yeah.
Because it seems like she shows up in a lot of their movies and things that they put together. So, yeah, that's oddly enough. And I like that actress. I can't think of her name.
The one
that
plays April in this movie?
Yeah. Brittany Allen.
Brittany Allen. Okay.
Yeah,
I know I've seen her in other stuff. I mean, her face, even Kyle, the character Kyle, her boyfriend, I remember seeing him. I think he was like maybe in a Harry Potter movie, and I think he was some other stuff. And I'm like, I know he looks familiar,
right?
And even the Seth guy, the douchey friend, I know I've seen him in other stuff too. The other ones, maybe not so much. Of course, I guess before we go through the characters, do you want to do a quick synopsis, or I can do it really fast? It's up to you.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so basically, it's April's character. She's trying to wrap up some stuff with her. I guess her parents are separated and divorced, and they have like a family cabin out in the woods. And she's there's a sale going on, and she's grabbing some stuff for her dad, and spending the weekend there with her boyfriend. Well, the boyfriend fails to tell her that they invited their friends along too. So it's a classic cabin in the woods kind of thing.
Yeah. And nothing ever good comes with the cabin. Any cabin in the woods, nothing ever good happens.
Oh, absolutely. So, they go there to for her to wrap things up. For the rest of them, they're there at a party, and then they come across kind of an alien encounter that kind of goes bad. And we'll just leave it at that right now.
Leave it at that. Before we jump into it, we always like to let people know there's going to be spoilers.
1, 2, spoilers coming for you.
So let's run through the characters. April and Kyle. That's the April is this is her
girlfriend.
Yeah, this is her parents' cabin. Seth and Melanie and Lex. I think Seth and Lex are a couple.
Yeah.
And then Melanie appears to be April's oldest, like an old friend of hers. Like they've known each other for a long time.
Since they were little girls.
And then Sheriff Murphy, and then Travis, which is kind of like this, kind of the crazy neighbor that the conspiracy
theorist,
who of course grows pot, and played by Michael Ironside, and
ex-special forces guy.
Yeah.
Perfect role for him.
It is actually a very perfect role.
I love
him.
Movies that show Michael Ironside because
he's great, dude.
He's a great character actor.
He really is, and he really flourished in the 80s.
Yeah.
Scanners. Was he in Total Recall?
Oh, yeah.
I think he was Total Recall. Because he always played the asshole bad guy.
He plays it so well.
I can't think of any other movies offhand.
Starship Troopers.
Thank you. Yeah. He was the teacher. Yes, because he
even showed up.
That
in
was
Top
also
Gun.
Paul Verhoeven, right? Because Paul Verhoeven directed Total Recall. He also directed Starship Troopers, and so a lot of these directors like to use the same, same people, like the Vicious Brothers did here. They like to use, like whoever's in this movie, they're probably in all their other movies. It's just if you have that rapport, that chemistry, it's why not?
Totally, yeah.
And so yeah. I mean, I think that's most of the. I mean, there's probably a couple other characters here and there. I know.
Gil Bellows plays the sheriff, and he was most predominantly in like Ally McBeal.
And then I remembered him from Shawshank Redemption, which I forgot he was the one kind of younger kid who ends up getting shot.
Yeah, he's the one that could have helped.
Andy Dufresne. Yeah, and then they shot him. And then I think that's about it, man. I mean, they go to. I think the idea here was, I think they were selling the cabin, and Mom didn't want to pay for a photographer, and it seems like April knows a bit about photography.
Yeah, that's like their.
That's her. Is that her thing? Yeah. And so instead of paying someone, hey, honey, will you go down to the cabin and take some pictures? And then Dad Skypes or FaceTime, whatever. I think it was a Skype, right?
Yeah.
And he could tell. So interesting, Morris. Okay, as we're coming along, I want to get back. I want to talk about this because the dad definitely is a drinker.
Yeah.
He looks like the divorce did a number on him.
Oh, totally.
And because I think Kyle mentioned something about, hey, did your dad get a job yet? And she's like making excuses for him, but you can tell he's a drinker. He wants April to pick up a few things. I think one was his shotgun,
and then fishing rods and tackle box.
Yes. He's drinking, I think, while he's talking with her, and wherever he was at, it was only like 10 a.m. or something that.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna bring that up again later on as this movie plays out, because I have I don't know. I have more of just an idea, maybe an opinion, and I'm just curious if you caught it as well. But they're heading, and then of course Seth, Melanie, and Lex are going to tag along. to this. And of course, April was not for it at first, but it's like, whatever, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And so they take this trip to this cabin. Does it tell us where this is at?
Not really.
We don't know where this is at.
No. It's just,
the cabin's in a small town. We do know that.
Right, but it's any town USA.
Any town USA.
Yeah.
And doesn't the idiot Seth? This is kind of like I said. He's kind of the douchey guy.
Yeah, he had like a bottle rocket.
Like
Roman
a
candle.
Roman candle
Yeah.
shooting him out
in the woods.
No, but he was doing so when they were driving
out of the moonroof.
Yeah, out of the moon, out of the sunroof, and whatever this was, a Jeep or whatever, and of course they get pulled over, and the Sheriff Murphy's like, look, I'm going to give you a warning, but don't pull this shit with me, man.
Yeah.
Because he says there's been weird stuff that's been happening, like animals. Didn't he say like animals dying or disappearing?
Yeah,
like weird stuff happening.
Right.
And you could tell, like, immediately you could tell with this sheriff that it's like he's not sure what's happening. He's definitely concerned, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on what's going on here. And he keeps flipping. He flips down the visor, right? And you can see this woman, and he talks to her.
Right.
And you're not quite sure the story yet.
But the funny thing is, even in those early moments of the movie, I pieced it together. It's like, okay, well, this is obviously someone that's missing in his life.
Someone missing or died.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And then again, it will come into play later on.
Yeah.
So they get to the cabin. Cabin's nice, right? Nicer than they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be like a shitty cabin like Evil Dead or Cabin in the Woods or anything.
It's always one of those, right? Like even
they even make it a point to say it's like, oh, it's a lot nicer than I thought it would be.
yeah.
But it is a log cabin. You can tell it was,
And so, do they do a little partying?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, yeah. There's a montage where they're smoking weed and drinking
and stuff. Yeah,
playing out by the pool that has no water in it.
Yeah. The pool has no water. A little bit, I think, maybe just from the rain or something.
From the rain later, yeah.
And then at what point which I thought was strange, right? Because Kyle goes. I know. Okay, so I know April.
Oh, so the dog goes missing.
The dog goes missing.
Yeah, and Melanie and April go try to find. Because it's Melanie's dog.
Yes, it is Melanie's dog, and they go to find the dog, and it wanders onto Travis's property.
Yeah, which it's like a total, trespassers beware kind of.
Didn't shit. It had like a dummy, and it had Richard Nixon's mask of Richard Nixon on it. And
it was like a scarecrow.
Yeah, like a scarecrow of Richard Nixon, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, totally.
And so they wander onto the property, and then they wander into this tent. Because the property looks like crap. Yeah. And they wander in this tent, and of course it's full of pot. Yeah. He's a grower.
Yeah, it's all hydroponics, and everything's all, he's got a little operation going on there.
Yeah.
So Melanie's like such a kind of a dumbass.
Stupid.
Because she's like, can I just take one? And it's like,
no,
dude, you're gonna get killed.
Yes,
I mean,
dude.
Wandering on somebody's private property with their weed. You're gonna get killed.
Yeah, it would be stupid to think that someone
that was
who
all right.
Someone who grows all of this doesn't have cameras and doesn't know that you're on their property. Yeah. Come on, give me a break here.
Exactly.
And so Travis comes out with, I think he had a gun, right?
Oh, he did. He had a shotgun.
And he had a shotgun, and then of course, April's like, "Well, don't you remember me, Travis?" And then he finally, "Oh yeah, okay." He remembers him because I don't know. I'm going to assume they've had this cabin for a while.
Oh, yeah.
He's been there for a while.
And she used to come up there often.
Yeah, and I think the dad used to fish with him or hunt with him or something. Yeah.
They went fishing.
Yeah.
So her and Travis, the dad, used to go fishing, and then I guess Melanie would go up there too. And I think they kind of made mention that the last time that April went up there was like right after high school,
It was right before they divorced, and I think Melanie was with April,
right?
And she's mentioned. I'll bring this up. I think I'll bring this up later because I have a theory. Like, was the divorce a result of what we're going to see in a bit? I'm curious, Morris.
What do you mean?
So obviously, we know that there's going to be an alien attack here,
right?
So, yeah, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Okay. I thought as this movie played out, is it possible, because they said the divorce happened right after they went up there the last time, and maybe that was the last time they'd been up there. Is it possible that something happened with the aliens? This may not have been some isolated thing. Maybe it happens every so many years.
Well, it seems like it's been going. You see a lot of missing.
Yes.
Bulletin board with missing people.
Well, like even the sheriff's
Missing
wife.
girls, yeah.
The sheriff's wife had been missing since, what, 2002 or 4 or something like
so
that.
it'd been. I remember the deputy said it's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we know this came out in 2014, but I think it
Right.
was filmed maybe 2012ish or 2013 because I'm pretty sure the deputy says she's been missing since 2002.
Oh, okay.
So 10 years would make it 2012.
Okay.
So this has been happening a long time. Is it possible that this happened with something happened with the mother and the father, and that's what caused the divorce, because they couldn't, when something tragic happens, you can't. It's almost like you can't continue to be with this person because there's been a tragedy or something that's so devastating.
Right. It's hard. It's hard to process and continue on.
So is it possible?
It's possible.
I know. I mean, it's just a theory I have. And Kyle finds it. So they do all this. They're doing this partying, and then I think April goes upstairs, and he follows her and decides, okay. Before that, though, there's a scene with April and Melanie, and Melanie says, Kyle's a great guy, and she's talking about going away to college and stuff like that, and she's like, I don't know if I want him coming with me. I kind of feel like I don't want to be that person that like marries their high school sweetheart,
right?
And then I don't experience all these things that I want to do,
right.
Whether it's with her career or whatever it is.
Yeah, she just feels like it's too safe to be, to live her life that way, that she hasn't been able to step out and do, not that necessarily she wants to go out and party or sleep with a whole bunch of people or anything like that.
Just be more independent.
She feels like she's limiting herself.
Yeah.
And that the sanctity of marriage really doesn't mean a lot for her. I think it's kind of soured her seeing her mom and dad split up.
For sure.
So, she's like, just the thought of being married is something that doesn't really sound great to her. So
yeah, no, definitely. But he goes to, so after she tells Melanie this, not long after, Kyle follows her upstairs and decides to propose, and
I guess it was a plan.
It was a plan because she basically says no.
Yeah.
And when they open up the door, all the friends have a congratulations and a yeah. And then of course he's upset, so he drinks a bit, gets a little hammered.
Yeah.
And then they're filming.
Well,
I think Seth is who's filming with the camera? Is it Seth?
It's Seth, because he has the camera.
He has the camera
at all times, and then they even. I mean, when she said no, they had like congratulations, and they had when she opened up the door, obviously it's like congratulations, and it's like no, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then Seth is filming. Just kind of filming there's an interaction between April and Kyle later because he's upset and he's been drinking. And of course, we know what happens when you drink and all the emotions come out and stuff. And then all of a sudden they see this kind of like, it almost looked like it looked like almost like a meteor or something.
Meteor was on fire and it crashed
near them.
Yeah, in the woods. And it's the classic. It's the classic. Anything that we've seen it in The Blob. We've seen it in Invaders from Mars. We've seen it in Slither.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anytime you see something falling from the sky into the woods or onto the ground, people don't go and investigate.
It never ends well.
It never ends well. You're going to get punctured, poked, freaking, melted, whatever. Something bad's going to happen to you. Run in the other direction when you see that shit happen.
For sure.
So, yeah, it's like...
Go get some help. Have them investigate.
Horror movie 101. See something fall from the sky, run in the opposite direction.
For sure. But of course, they go and investigate. They hop in the Jeep or whatever.
Seth is just all wild and he wants to film everything.
Yeah.
So they go. Oh, my God. And, they see it's a spaceship.
It's a crashed, UFO. I mean, yeah.
And it looked great.
Yeah, no, it did. It looked really good.
Because it wasn't, it was practical.
Yeah.
So,
no, it looked good. And of course, they're all freaked out. Like, are we really seeing what this?
Seeing?
I mean, is this, And
yeah, they're definitely seeing what they're seeing, and and another thing, horror movie 101, don't touch anything. Just never touch any. I mean, not that they
they didn't go into the ship or anything,
no,
but
they were touching stuff.
Yeah, and there was pieces, like there was like stuff broken off, and I think even maybe Kyle said, yeah, it feels like it's thin as like aluminum foil or something like that, which that kind of tripped me out. It's like, wouldn't it be some thick metal? I don't know, man.
Well, that's something that I think there's little elements of this movie that they borrow from other movies or investigations and stuff, because they always say that it's a mineral that wouldn't exist here on Earth. So where it's light as a feather, but it's durable like fuck. So and there's little things sprinkled throughout this movie that are homages to other movies.
Yes.
So
and you would know better than me. I know you mentioned,
and I'll bring up some.
Yeah, that definitely mentioned one to me, and I understood exactly what you meant.
Right, and that's towards the end. But,
so now, do they get okay?
So they go back to the cabin.
They go back to the cabin, all 5 of them.
But now since they went to that crash site, whatever was there and crashed
is going to follow them.
Saw where they went, obviously, and followed.
Now, okay, so then they're talking about, they're trying to focus on what's happening here.
Right.
They're still trying to process it, going, God, is this? Did we just really see this?
And then even Seth, he's like, do you know we can make money off of this? And da da da, and going off, and you're thinking, dude, you're an idiot. But
and then don't they see?
So yeah, I think this is where
I thought they saw I thought something was happening, and she went downstairs. I thought they grabbed the shotgun.
Right. They saw lights come into the cabin. They went downstairs, so her and Kyle are ready to like go out of the cabin, but they have. Had the shotgun? She had the shotgun.
I think she had the shotgun because she's has some she's familiar with it, and no one else is, because they couldn't load the shells into it.
Right. So he opens the door, and what's there? It's a friggin' alien. It's a classic gray skinny alien that you would see in any movie, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or
like if someone was to, like, if there's a trope on what a alien truly like people think it looks like, that like real tall and skinny, and that shaped head and the arms. It'll look exactly like that. And I actually dug the look of it, because I thought they saw the one by the glass door, and then it went up, but she shot.
Right.
And she actually hit it.
And then it fell into the pool.
The pool.
And by this time, because there was a light rain happening, there was some rainwater in the bottom of the pool.
Yes.
And and when they went to go look, it was just floating there in the pool.
Yeah.
So
it almost looked like
like it was descending down. Yeah, like going under the water. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it couldn't much, because I mean, it ain't gonna be that much rain to fill up that part of the pool.
Right.
But and don't they end up? They're freaked out. Don't they end up leaving? But then there's that tree that's.
Oh, so they leave, and there's
always a tree.
There's a tree that's blocking the road, and you can tell that it was cut like with something very clean.
And because it looked like it had smoke coming off of it,
like it was a laser or something.
Laser, right? Like,
so it's blocking the road.
But there's always a friggin' tree, dude. So, any cabin in the woods, there's always a tree that seems to block.
And Seth is filming everything, and this is the cool thing that I liked about this movie, was the fact that it plays like a normal movie, but then they kind of infuse little found footage stuff with the camera. The shot
a little bit. I'm glad there wasn't too much of it, because I hate the found footage stuff, dude.
And being that, Grave Encounters is all found footage, 1 and 2, they kind of infused it a little bit. So, our perspective of the filming is done by Seth. Almost kind of like Cloverfield. Like the one friend had the camera all the time and filming. But it's kind of hyper unrealistic that you would hold it all the time. So I like the fact that when Seth put the camera down, we saw real, like, it was like a live action movie, like a regular movie. So, they all kind of look up, and there's a bigger ass fucking flying saucer right above them.
What I will say, the part I liked was the rain. They go, well, at least the rain stopped.
Oh,
remember that scene? I love
scene.
this scene.
So yeah, they were freaked out by the fact that, oh, wait a minute, closer by the car, there's no rain, but out here where the crash site is.
Because Seth was in the he overheard, because it's not raining on Kyle and April, but he's in the rain,
right?
And I think Melanie and Lex might have been in the car.
In the car, right?
And so yeah, he's like, well, what the hell? This is weird. And he looks up and there's the UFO
right
above them, and it's blocking all the.
And it's bigger than the other one that crashed.
Yeah.
And then this is the cool thing. So they're like, oh, let's get the fuck out of here, you know? Let's get the fuck out of here. So they're all running to get the fuck out of there. So this is cool because I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Fire in the Sky.
I remember it. I remember it, but I never watched it.
So this plays exactly like that scene from Fire in the Sky where the one friend wouldn't get back in the truck. It's like, get in the truck. And they're trying to tell him to get back in the truck. Well, that was what was going on with Lex. You know, Seth's girlfriend, the blonde girlfriend. And she wouldn't get in the truck. And then she's like mesmerized by looking up, and they're like, get in. Because they felt, if you notice, their car was shaking, almost like it was kind of lifting off the ground a little bit, but not by much. Because something we failed to mention earlier, there was a scene that it's kind of,
the phone booth scene.
The phone booth scene.
Yeah.
There was a frantic mother that was knocking on the general store door. It was like a general store video shop, and he's like, nope, closed for the day. But I thought about this, and I even told Lisa this. I go, if you saw a frantic woman in the rain, frantic as fuck, would you really turn her away? Wouldn't you think that there's like something domestic?
Honestly, man, I don't know anymore. People are so fucking weird. I never know.
I would hope nothing weird would happen, but I would let her in. I would give her shelter because I would hate to think that something that terrible is chasing her, that she's not going to be helped.
I've seen enough. So I always go back to that. I've seen enough horror movies to know usually nothing ever
of helping good somebody.
Of help. It's like, how many movies have they let someone in and they kill everyone? I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I would hope that kind of the humanity part in me would like, let her in or help her out the best I could, but at the same time be cautious of anything that could go down.
Right.
But yeah, go ahead and explain that part of what happens. So he turns her away
turns her away. So she goes to the phone booth because she wanted to use the phone in his, and take shelter in there. But he turns her away. She uses the phone booth. She's trying to call 911. Well, then, the damn phone booth disappears.
Yeah.
And the shop owner walks out and gets like, there's like smoke coming off of the base of where the phone booth was. And it's like, where the fuck did it go? And then no more than maybe a minute later, the damn phone booth falls down from the sky and shatters into a million pieces. But she's nowhere to be found. So it basically, as you can tell, since this is a, UFO invasion encounter movie, she got sucked away. Yeah. So,
and of course the sheriff investigates, and he's like, "Look, Sheriff, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I've done some drugs, but dude, I'm being honest here. This is what happened."
Yeah.
And again, it's all these
and then you have footage too.
Yeah. And he keeps watching that footage, and he keeps pausing it to see. He could actually see. It took him to pause it to see the actual
it was
phone booth like
in the sky.
Yeah. And then there was other little things like one of the townsfolk calls them over, and he goes, "Hey, Sheriff, it's happened again." And,
with the livestock.
Yeah, where it doesn't look like it's been attacked. It looks like almost like a piece has just been cut out.
Oh, like dissected by something very sharp, like almost like a laser.
Almost like it looked like a laser to me, man. It almost looked like if you were carving something. Yes, dude. It looked so clean. Yeah. And it almost looked like it was part of and I forget what animal it was. Was it like a?
Oh, I think it was a cow.
Was it a cow?
But it was like like a hindquarters dissection.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So again, all these things are happening.
Oh yeah, so that scene was straight out of freaking Fire in the Sky,
and
where the light, there's a bright light on her, and then next thing you know,
she's gone.
Yeah, she's got that. It's almost like a funnel light. That after the bright light, it's a funnel light, and then you can tell that it's like shaking her. She's lifting off the ground by maybe a couple feet, and then it sucks her up into the sky.
Sucks her up, and then they go back to the cabin, right?
They're freaked out.
Yeah, they're freaked out. They go back to the cabin.
They kind of hammer down the hatches more or less, where they're
well, because they had
blocking the windows and doors.
Yeah, and because she had shot through one of that glass door, so that would be wide open now.
Right.
So now they're trying to do the best they can to bolt it up.
Yeah.
Not like it's really going to do anything.
No, because obviously these guys can suck you up through a freaking telephone booth.
Now, is this at the point where Seth gets a little crazy and grabs the? No, that's not, because
it's a little bit later.
That's right, because okay, so they think the aliens are there, and then they go to open up the door, but it's actually the sheriff, right, or the deputy.
Oh well, no, they do see. She looks through the keyhole, and it's the alien followed them back.
The one alien, yeah.
No, there was like a new alien.
Yeah,
because there was a dead one in the pool.
Well, supposedly,
yeah. Well, I think there's a few.
There's a few. Yeah, to me there had to be at least 2 to 3, if not more.
2 to 3 or more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that there's more later. But,
of course, yeah.
But so she looks through the keyhole and it's looking back at her. And
yeah,
it had that cool.
That was cool. That was cool.
Fisheye look. Lens look.
Yeah.
And she freaked out and falls down. And then of course they're, kind of, they batten down the hatches. And they're waiting by the front door, and then that door swings open, and then they shoot, and it's not aliens, it's the cops.
Yeah, it's the sheriff and his deputy.
Yeah, sheriff and his deputy. Maybe another cop.
No, I only think it was the 2. I think it was just the 2, dude.
Okay, so, yeah, and then they think they're crazy. It's like, well, why, you guys are getting out here and you're getting high, and
well, the deputy. Definitely, but the sheriff, it's like he's not totally sold, but he's also not dismissing it altogether either. Right. Like weird stuff is happening for sure, and so it doesn't sound as crazy as it normally would if nothing else was happening.
Right.
And so, but doesn't he go to the sheriff goes to investigate, right?
Yeah.
Where is he investigate? Is it the barn or something? Is there a barn or something?
Oh yeah. So there was a
because the dog has disappeared.
Yeah, and then is that where he finds the dog?
I think he finds the dog up there.
Yeah, and the dog's been gutted.
Yes. But then he also sees an alien and goes to shoot at.
He goes
the
to
alien.
shoot, and it's so fast. You don't really catch it in your eye, but something was just there. Yeah. And it kind of bounces around the darkness of the barn, and then flies out the window.
Yeah.
And then it's gone into the woods, and I think wasn't it even on the roof at one point.
It might have been on the roof, yeah.
So, but it was gone, and he's convinced that whatever they're saying is the truth, and it kind of makes sense with what he dealt with, his disappearance of his lady.
So I assume this is his wife.
Yeah, his wife
or girlfriend. I mean, one of the two. She disappeared, and he basically goes, "Look, she wouldn't have left me like that. Like we were in love."
Oh yeah, he was talking to the
deputy because the deputy still thinks he's crazy, and it's like because I think Seth is handcuffed in the back of the car.
Right.
The deputy's in the front in the passenger side. Right. The sheriff gets in, and he's like, "No, I believe this is happening."
Yeah, he says, "I think these kids are telling the truth. I think it's aliens." And deputy's like, "What? What?" And he's like, "Are you crazy?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "Now, look, Sheriff, I think you're, upset and distressed over, losing her for all these years. Yeah. You just have to face up and that she left you." And he's like, "No, she did not leave me because we went to bed. I woke up. She was gone. Why didn't she take any of her stuff?"
Yep. And the door was locked
from the inside.
From the inside.
Yeah, and she didn't take her keys. So how did she lock the door without taking her keys? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So and I know her heart. We were in love. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah.
No possible.
You just know.
Yeah. You just know that there was no doubt in his. They were happy as a couple. There's no way that And this is the part that kind of sucks because it seems like this part of the story is over. So then at that point, they all see the bright light in front of the cop car
and the alien, right? They see
in the road, and the alien like looks at him, and then he raises his hand, and you can tell that he's manipulating the sheriff, because if you look him in the eye, it's like you're gonna get. I guess the alien has some sort of like mind control.
Yeah,
and basically makes the sheriff shoot his deputy in the head, and then take a shotgun and shoot himself in the underneath and blow his brains out. Blow his brains out. So that was kind of sad that that story came to an end. So
I was shocked that would happen.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, dude. Like that threw me off. Like I honestly thought the sheriff it'd be one of those situations where
he dies trying to help him.
Or you think he's dead because something happens, but then at the end he's alive. I mean, I thought I'm like, holy crap, that threw me off.
Yeah, and then Seth's in the back, and he's like kicking out the windows to get out of there. Because
and I think doesn't April come out to let him out or something?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
and the alien's gone at that point.
But I mean, I know they grabbed the guns from the sheriff. I don't know if it was multiple guns, but I know when Seth got into the house, he had a gun.
Yeah, he had a
little revolver or something, and
then he turns kind of and this is kind of classic. This reminded me of, say, Cabin Fever. So they had the one friend that was like, "Fuck all y'all, you can all," and then he fucking takes off, and
there's always that friend.
Yeah, where he's that friend was also a douchebag and fucking takes off, and he's like, "Fuck you, you guys can all just do what you want. I'm out of here," and he takes off, and that's what Seth basically does. He goes, "Any of you follow me, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah,
because he at that point he loses all trust, and there's no camaraderie to like get through the situation.
And he leaves, right? And then I think doesn't. I'm trying to remember what happens to Melanie. At what point does she get?
So I think what's the boyfriend's name again?
Kyle.
So Kyle goes upstairs, and Melanie and April are downstairs, and that's when Melanie's like, I remember that time, and thanks for covering for me.
Yeah.
Because I was sick, and you said that I had stomach flu, that was seasick on a lake.
Yeah.
But we were really hungover from sneaking your parents' liquor that night and stuff, and going fishing, and that's when the aliens come into the house again to grab, and I think Melanie's gone. And
I think they grab Melanie, but doesn't there's I remember a scene where Kyle takes like let's call it a bookcase or an entertainment center or something, and he puts it in front of the door to protect April.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so, yeah. But he goes upstairs to a bathroom, right?
He does.
And is he following one of the aliens?
No, I think the alien got into the house. He decided.
And he had a baseball bat?
I thought he had a gun, dude, or a knife or something. I think maybe a knife.
Maybe a knife.
Oh, he did. He went into the kitchen and he grabbed a knife out of the
door. That's right. And he went upstairs and he was in the bathroom, and that was kind of a scene that kind of threw me because I didn't remember it the first two times that I've seen it. And that almost like reminded me of the Friday the 13th remake when the girl goes up into the bathroom and then Jason kind of pops out of behind the shower and grabs her. But this is the alien pops out of the medicine cabinet mirror.
I think it was something like that. Yes.
And then it cuts to black to where you don't know what happens to Kyle.
See, that's the thing, and this is where, because we're getting close to this is where the movie lost me. It was I would say the last 10, 15 minutes of this movie.
Oh, I think we almost missed Travis too. They go to Travis's farm.
They do. They go to Travis's farm. They let him know what's going on, and they explain to him what's happening. And of course, he's all on board. He's all on board. Then he explains to them. This is what he goes. Look, aliens have been around forever. It's they keep it on the down low. They take us every once in a while. Yep. And as long as you don't engage, there's I'm not going to say there's no problems, but as long as you don't shoot, which they did in this instance,
you engaged.
You engaged.
Yeah.
And then he had that little monitor thing. I don't know what that.
The radar.
Thank you. The radar, and they're like, oh, all right. Well, that's a problem. Yeah. And so they end up leaving, taking the path back to the cabin, but he stays there, of course.
And this is obviously earlier in the movie than we've already explained.
Yeah.
So,
We're not going to remember every single thing in order.
But yeah, he was. There was an alien after him, and he was shooting at it, and
he thought he got it.
He thought he got it. It was all gooey, but then of course it got him.
It was all gooey.
It got him, and then we're cutting back to April. So April's left alone at this point, right?
So I think what happens is April is literally the only one that's left. She comes out after because she feels that it's safe now, and then it looks like the ship is leaving.
Yeah.
And then,
she took the Roman candle,
and she starts shooting it. So more. This is where literally
because they took off with Kyle, and she's like,
yeah,
bring him back.
Even though she turned down the proposal, she's starting to second guess that.
Yeah, she's like, we were meant to be. We were meant to be. And
this was my problem with it, Morris. This is where everything after this I didn't like.
Okay.
I would have been fine with, let's say she got out of there, right? Because there's a line, I would say maybe, 20 minutes earlier where Kyle says, I'm full of surprises. And so this is where I wanted to see the movie go, and of course it didn't. I would have loved to have seen, everyone got abducted or whatever happened.
Oh, that she thinks that Kyle's on the ship, but then he pops out of the woods.
And then maybe he says something like, hey, honey, I'm still here. I'm full of surprises. I don't know.
And then that was the end of the movie?
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
Now, we still haven't talked about Seth getting attacked in the woods.
Oh, yeah. So
that I actually liked because the alien, what they did with the alien was kind of cool. Like it made it like fast or something. It was,
and it was hiding behind trees.
Yeah, I liked this, and he literally shot at nothing.
Yeah,
and then
people are usually stupid.
They're stupid
and they waste their bullets.
Yes, I would salvage every single bullet, man. That would be important to me. Like unless I know I can hit you, I'm not shooting.
Yeah.
And then the alien gets him, and
the light shines on him to where, and then he takes handcuffs himself to the tree.
This was awesome.
He's thinking that he's not going to be lifted up into the, but they lift his ass
minus his arm that is still hanging on the tree, which was cool. I actually really liked that part.
And we get back to Seth later.
But this is where the movie lost it for me, man. Like, she shoots the Roman candle. They come back and get her.
Well, it doesn't look like they're coming back, and then
they
show her. Yeah, then
they do.
The light casts on her, and then she goes up.
And they go and they get her. They beam her up to the ship. She's in some sort of I don't know.
So this is where it seems like it's kind of meshing with Fire in the Sky. This reminded me of Fire in the Sky.
Again, because I haven't seen it, I can't agree or disagree. But yeah.
So in this universe of Alien, Fire in the Sky, you deal with technology and you deal with organics. So it's almost kind of like the Matrix a little bit, and Fire in the Sky did this too, where it's like you're cocooned into this membrane.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's
it
gooey,
definitely at the end had a Matrix feel to it,
and it's shit. It's like poopy looking. It's all black and oozy. Which, if anybody's seen Fire in the Sky, that with the accounting of this guy's, talking about the story of him being in the ship, being abducted, this is almost straight out of like Fire in the Sky. This is almost like a companion piece.
Okay.
Because the experience is almost the same.
Okay.
So yeah, she goes. She's membraned in, and it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did it not? Even though it seems like maybe it was probably the next day, but it didn't. On the ship, didn't it feel like it was maybe a week later or something? Like she'd been there for a while.
No, to me it almost felt immediate.
Almost
for
immediate.
me. But I only saw it the one time. It felt immediate for me. Where like not a lot of time had passed.
Okay.
That when you say Matrix, that's perfect because it felt like the Matrix for me. I mean, wasn't there even a scene where they put a little device into the belly button of Seth?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So yeah, she's in these cocooned hallways. That's like a living organic kind of area, and it's weird how the membrane it's almost like I said, it's organic. It almost looks like it's living, breathing kind of thing, but it's just a part of the ship as well.
Yeah.
And there's people like cocooned in this thing. And I thought it was a little convenient that she did find Kyle.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but but for the sake of the story, it had to happen.
Well, yeah, it did.
So her and Kyle, and then she gets out of one of the corridors to like the main like area, and that looked like it was straight out of like Independence Day, where it looked like a city within the ship.
Yeah, it did.
Because there's a lot of little ships going around,
Definitely.
and
then like
and towers,
like
control towers and stuff. Totally look like Independence Day. So they homage that as well. And then we cut to the scene with Seth.
Yeah.
So we thought he died because you see his arm left, but no, he's there in this weird chair. Oh, and there was a scene earlier in the movie where they talked about, what, boy, you getting anal probed by them aliens? And he's like, anal probed, whatever. It's like
so cliche.
It's so cliche. So yeah, he's in this table, and this thing comes down that looks like one of the robots from the Matrix.
Yeah,
where it has all these little red lights and devices and sharp things coming out.
Yeah,
and yeah, he's kind of membrane down into this table, and it has almost this little I don't know what
I don't even know,
like a nanobot that goes into his belly button.
Yep.
And I forgot when it goes in. Does it make him puke or something?
Don't remember. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
because it didn't seem like that long after that he got the...
Yeah, so then the table swaps around, bends him over, and then it has this drill, and he's being drilled in the butt. And of course, he dies.
He dies. Yeah, and then, of course, April finds Kyle and somehow does CPR on him. And he spits out something and is alive.
Oh, yeah. So, he, when she got out of that membrane area, she had a lot of black goop inside of her mouth, too. So, I don't know if it's kind of sustains life or whatever.
I'm not sure,
Kind of keeps you in some kind of hypersleep or...
Could be,
anyway. So, and then they're just laying down there and... she just brought him back to life, and then she's, they glance up. There was like 3 aliens right in front of them.
Yeah.
And this is where I forgot every single time that I've seen this movie, I almost thought that they were in her head. This next scene, but it wasn't.
Okay.
So, she's like, "Just let us go. Just let us go. Just let us go," and you see they're kind of huddled together, kind of like holding each other. And, it's like they're together at this point.
Yep.
And then I was thinking, okay, well, they're basically making them think whatever they want to, almost like, controlling the sheriff to kill his deputy.
Yeah.
They get in your head. Maybe they give you pleasant thoughts,
Maybe.
And that's what I kind of thought it was. It's like, okay, because next thing we see, they're waking up in the forest.
Yeah.
And it's ultra bright, and it looks kind of fairy tale-ish.
It does
a little bit. Yeah. So I almost thought that's like, okay, well, they're giving them a good memory, almost like the Matrix.
Yes.
But sure enough, and they see like a military cleanup crew,
dude, and that is never ever a good sign either.
Yeah, and they're like, oh my God, we're saved, almost like the end of The Mist. But at least those guys were friendly. And you see these guys with gas masks on and collecting. And
I think they have guns too.
Yeah, they have
like
guns,
they're holding guns and
guns and flamethrowers and they're collecting stuff and hazmat suits and she's like, hey guys, she's waving.
She's running towards them
like, hey, and her and
Kyle
were holding hands and then she runs ahead. And all of a sudden they see her and they start opening fire.
They don't even hesitate.
They don't. And I guess, because at first I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of fucked up. Wouldn't you have, it's like a survivor. Why are you, but then it makes sense. It's like, leave no witnesses.
Yeah, no evidence, nothing. You have to exterminate everybody, everything. Yeah.
So, she gets killed. Kyle gets killed, shot down, dead. And then they had a colonel or a general talking to this guy in a suit. The guy in the suit smoking a cigarette. And it's so reminiscent of the cigarette smoking man from X-Files.
And I have to take your word for this because you were telling me about this.
So he's a character that's kind of behind a lot of the conspiracy stuff that happened in the X-Files.
Yeah.
Anything that was a cover-up or anything, and Mulder and Scully were coming, it's like it all pieced together with the cigarette smoking.
And I never really watched the X-Files, maybe an episode here or there, so but I knew right away when you said it, I'm like, okay, I could see this.
I love that they kind of tied that in.
But I mean, why do you think that is? Do you think it
was an homage?
Just an homage.
Well, there's homages throughout this entire movie of other. I guess you can argue better movies, better. But I do enjoy what this was. This was like a love letter, done well, shot well, acted pretty well.
I thought acting was good.
Yeah,
I thought it visually looked great. I almost felt it looked too great, to be honest with you. Like it looked too good.
Yeah.
But again, my issues, I didn't like the last 10, 15 minutes. So you're telling me she can shoot a Roman candle, get onto this ship, survive getting out of this, whatever she's encompassed in.
They beamed her back because if there was that one character, the girl that got lifted up into the...
Lex.
Not
Lex. Oh, the other lady.
The lady in the beginning with the telephone booth. Well, the sheriff sees her later in an RV where they took her son and her husband.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's hundreds and hundreds of people up there.
Yeah.
They let me go, but they took my baby. They took my son. So they brought her back. So basically, at the end, they brought April and Kyle back. But like I said, I thought it was like a fever dream that they were planning thoughts in their head. But it was actually real, and that the American government, it was a conspiracy cover up, and they eliminated any witnesses.
I just did the ending. The ending lost me. I just.
And the cool thing is, okay, so they both got shot down, and that was kind of a sweet moment. So she had the ring that he proposed to her in her pocket. She took it out. She gave it to him, and he put it on her finger, and they held hands.
Yeah. Again, I get it, dude. Yeah. It was hokey for me.
But at the very end, I thought it was kind of cool, man. They just lifted their bodies into this hole like they were just pieces of garbage.
Yeah, and then, that was not cool.
And then they flamed. They were laying in a shallow grave.
Yeah,
and they flamethrowed the crap out of their dead bodies to eliminate any
evidence. Yeah, no, they have to cover everything up. I don't know, man.
So it was a tragic ending.
It was. I don't know. Like I said,
it was a horror movie ending.
Yeah, I guess. I was fine with everything up until she got onto the ship. Before she got onto the ship, I was digging this movie.
Yeah.
I think I said earlier how I would have liked to have seen it, but whatever. I didn't make the movie, but everything on the ship was hokey to me. It was none of it was believable. It wasn't filling anything that they did on the ship. Any of it.
This movie just really reminded me, like I said, of other movies.
Yeah.
Fire in the Sky is a big one. And another movie that was from one of the directors of the Blair Witch Project. It's a movie called Altered, and that was from Eduardo Sanchez. And that movie came out, maybe 7 years before.
Okay.
And it's actually a pretty good movie. I have it on DVD. And it's, aliens attacking you out in the woods.
Yeah.
But it's not found footage. It's, it plays like
that's
a
good. I'm not a huge fan of the found footage. That
only
had its
some.
place for a second, and I'm just not a fan of it anymore.
They want to keep going with those fucking movies.
No, move on from that shit, people. That's a phase. Move on. Come up with a better creative phase.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, as a whole, like, dude, I didn't hate this movie. I mean, I enjoyed it. I would probably recommend it. It's just, the ending just wasn't for me, and that's okay.
That's okay.
mean, but there was still a lot of cool stuff that was happening in the movie that I did enjoy.
It's a definite recommend for me. I really dug it. I'd watch it again. Obviously, I bought it to watch it again because I couldn't find find it streaming anywhere.
No, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a home run for me, but it's
Right.
it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, and I was entertained. I can get past the ending. I mean, I've seen I've seen far worse endings. So
Yeah.
I just kind of wished it would have went in one direction, but it didn't. It went in the other direction. I didn't care for the direction, but whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, anything that. I know we kind of jumped around a little bit. Anything that you thought we may have left out?
No,
I'm glad you brought back. I forgot about the woman in the phone booth and the fact that we saw her in the RV. And so that was good. You tied that in.
It just kind of it expanded on what was going on in the story more. Just all these little elements,
Yeah, for sure.
Even with April and Kyle's love, kind of bringing it full circle at the very end. They're even from. She was always destined to be with him. Basically,
I was mad that they went out the way they did.
Yeah,
after everything that
went through.
I think that was part of my issue, dude. It was like
because they had so much struggle in the movie.
Yes, she went onto this ship to get him back, and then literally they got back, and then they get shot
by the people that should protect them, humans.
And that pissed me off.
Yeah.
It pissed me off, and whatever. It is what it is.
Too bad they couldn't have just left and gone home.
Something. But yeah, man. But again, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
I definitely recommend that other movie by the Vicious Brothers. It stains the sands red.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should. I think it's a little different take on the zombie genre movie.
Yeah, I'm always I'm so burnt out on the regular zombie stuff. Give me something a little different. I'm on board. But
well, I would say 75% of that movie is different. There's a 25% that's kind of the same.
You can only go so far to make it super different with zombies.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's. With each sort of say vampires or werewolves or whatever, you're always, no matter how far you try to get away from it, you got to use some of the stuff that we're used to. I mean, it's there, right? I mean,
That's
you can't totally get away from it. So,
and I know you don't really care for this series, but the Walking Dead, the fact that they're ending, the 11 seasons,
it should have ended
so they
about
have
7 years ago, but whatever.
They have a new show in the Walking Dead universe, and I think you actually might like it.
That's okay. I'm gonna pass.
No, dude, I think I'm gonna check it out. So it's an anthology of stories, kind of like Tales from the Crypt, where it's a different story with different characters in different situations within the zombie
Is it
apocalypse.
Completely different people that
dude
were not in the series? Because I'm so done
it's like
with all of
watching
them.
Tales from the Crypt with different characters in each episode. I don't know. But it deals with the zombie apocalypse.
Dude, it's just, I'm sorry, but
no.
I have such a bitter taste of The Walking Dead because I just felt like they wrung that thing so dry. It should have ended so long ago.
It's called Tales from the Walking Dead. So some episodes are, they're all self-contained. No episode goes into the next episode. All are it's a self-contained anthology episode.
You start watching it, and then you'll know whether I'll like it or not. And maybe I'll check it out.
And they're all directed by different directors, and they all have kind of a different theme. So maybe some might be comedic. Some might be really dark and
as long as I don't have to deal with any of the characters that were in The Walking Dead.
If
it's all new people
it's all new people.
So maybe you start watching it and then let me know if it's any good. Maybe I'll take it. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I was just so done with The Walking Dead. Dude, I gave up on that show after season 5. I was just But anyways, that's a whole nother episode.
Totally.
So anyways, all right, man. Well, hey, thanks again for coming out. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. I totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I do recommend this. Check it out if you guys want to. It's a good movie, in my opinion.
Cool. All right, man. Well, everyone, thanks again, and take care.
Stay scary.
You listened all the way to the end. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ear for Fear Podcast, Twitter at Ear for Fear, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ear for Fear Podcast. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There we list news and events. We're available on all the main platforms, so make sure you tell a friend. We hope you come back and get an earful.